What about you?
All right, hey. Fellas, hey. Thank you. Again, thank you for coming to the clinic. These are totally for you guys to hear another voice, other voices, because I think it's really important that you guys hear as many voices as you can, because you don't know what's going to stick with you. You don't know who's going to say the right thing. And every instructor that I hope comes in here feels like you guys all have unending ability, and they're going to be able to share something with you that's going to help make you a better player. Tonight, the new Chabot head coach, Paul Wiebens. He's been around the Bay Area forever. He's had a lot of success. Los Medanos, Napa, Diablo Valley, and now Chabot's lucky enough to get him, and he was just named their head coach this year. He's been at NorCal baseball with Rob Bruno, and just does a tremendous job. I've watched him when we played him, and just been impressed by his demeanor and the way he talks with his players and communicates with them. So, for the next hour and a half, please give him your eyes, give him your ears. You're tardy for the potty. You all right?
Okay.
Yeah, you can sit wherever you want. What's going on, man? Coach Paul Wiebens.
How's it going, everybody? First thing first, I am a hitting coach mostly. I coach baseball. I can do kind of everything, but my specialty is hitting. So I've had the top three, for the past 3 years, I've had the top offense in California for JUCO. What I do is not super hard, but what it is the best hitters are the best movers. And so if you can watch how an athlete moves, you can create kind of the best pattern for them to create force, to create a repeatable pattern that makes them have the best chance of success. Okay, so your bodies kind of tell me what I'm going to do with you as a hitter. And for me, the biggest thing that I can do with you as a hitter is create mentality. So my biggest thing with my hitters is mentality. What did Yogi Berra say? 90% of hitting is mental. And that is the truth. Because if you are not confident in what you're doing in hitting, you're never going to hit. It's the only thing in sports that if you do a 30% clip, you're an all-star and a Hall of Famer the rest of your life. There is nothing else in sports that is that failure rate, and you have to be confident in what you're doing at it. There just isn't. Okay? So when I started out, all my hitters we talk about is a base of mentality on how to do that. I basically tell all my guys, we are going to go to the box and we are going to tell everybody, I am the baddest man in the planet. That guy is never going to beat me. And if you have that mentality when you're going to the plate, it's mano-a-mano, it's one-on-one, and you are going to beat it. I mean, literally, if you can have that mentality constantly, you're going to have a good success rate on what you're doing. You are, okay? Now, it sounds easier the way I'm saying it than what it should be. We do a lot of focus stuff. We go over a lot of things with fear. Now, fear is the biggest thing for hitters that creeps in, and that's why you won't have the strength or the mentality to be that strong. You have to be able to push fear down, because fear is going to make everything upside down. If you have any form of fear, this guy's going to get me out, this pitch is going to be this thing's going to do this, then fear is going to take over your at-bat. It is. And if you can't push fear away, then it will control everything you do in a game where it's losing, okay? So what we do is we do a lot of visionary stuff. So we will sit in a room, blacked out, make it all dark, you'll close your eyes, and you will envision yourself doing it, basically. See the field that you're at, the pitcher that you are, the release point of the baseball, watch it come all the way in, and do it over and over, and in your head you're going to tell yourself, I am the best. I am the best, I am the best, I am the best, and you are going to pump yourself up so well that even if you fail, you're ready for that next at bat, okay? For my hitters, every pitch is a battle. First pitch, boom, I'm gonna bang it. If I don't, foul ball, whatever, next pitch is the next battle. So if I can make my battles into one pitch at a time, I can win the war. Okay, so don't take it as a whole at bat. If you take it as a whole at bat, you have a huge chance for failure, basically. Okay, take it as one pitch at a time. If I went into form on everything that we do, I have 3 sets. Okay, everything from the way our body moves and the way that our form starts. Okay, for me, there's 3 sets. There is a toe tap, a stretch, or a leg kick in my form stuff. So I went past mentality into form for you guys. Because everybody's looking at me mentality. I think the room is a little young for mentality stuff. So if I go into 3 steps, everything starts with my lower half. Everything's going to be easy and simple. And it's going to start with one of those 3 forms, okay? A toe tap for me is either some type of negative move or simple move with my front leg. Either pick it up, put it down, or I take it back and go forward. A leg kick is picking it up and sitting for my side view. So sitting and going, or I'm going to go into a straight stretch, which is going to be here and there, and I'm going to step towards it. I'm going to basically create a step towards forward, okay? So all aspects of hitting are going to go off of those 3 shoots when you're doing your thing. So when you think of your style and the way you hit, it should be an offshoot of all 3, okay? So some form of that is going to be what you guys do. So like if I asked, what form would you use? If you had one of those 3 and you considered your own swing, which one are you using?
Toe tap.
A toe tap, right?
Toe tap.
Toe tap.
Same.
Same? No leg kickers here.
Same.
Same?
A stretch.
A stretch. Okay.
Toe tap.
Toe tap.
Stretch.
Stretch.
Oh, leg kick.
Leg kick. There you go.
Oh, leg kick.
Leg kick.
Stretch.
Okay.
Leg kick.
Leg kick.
Toe tap.
Toe tap. Toe tap.
Leg kick.
Leg kick.
Toe tap.
Toe tap.
Stretch.
I like
Leg
it.
kick.
Toe tap.
Leg kick.
Leg kick.
Toe tap.
Okay.
Toe tap.
All right.
Leg kick.
Stretch.
Stretch.
Oh.
You don't know? Out of all 3. If you're going to look at your swing,
I don't look at my swing.
no, don't look at your swing. Okay. So coaches, oh, keep going for you then. Huh? Gotcha.
Toe tap.
Toe tap.
Stretch.
Stretch.
Toe tap.
Toe tap.
Toe tap.
Toe tap.
Toe tap.
Okay.
Leg kick.
Leg kick.
Stretch.
Stretch.
Okay, perfect. So when I'm looking at somebody and they're doing their forms, I will make sure that there's also 3 things. Okay, I want you to get your weight onto your backside when I load, and I want a hip hinge, and I want you to sink your rear ass cheek, okay, your butt cheek, okay? And so what that does is I create energy. So if I'm in here, see how I get to my move, boom, to that point and sit, I can read, I can explode, I can go anything from that point and expand my power to where I want it to go. Does that make sense? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Am I going past you? I'm getting hot here. So this is, for me, is my key to what everything I do. If I am a leg kick guy, the Japanese call it flamingoing. I have to be able to sit in the air with my leg up on my power move while I read what pitch is coming, okay? So for me, if a guy can't be able to flamingo and sit here and read a pitch, then they're gonna have to go with the same movement into a tap, because then I can balance myself. Does that make sense? You guys get that? Looking at a lot of faces going, oh. Okay. For me, once I get my lower half in the right area and what I want to do, then it becomes what the upper half is going to do. And for me, I have to be able to get to a point wherever I am going to punch somebody from. So if my hand, and I'm going to sock somebody, don't hit anybody, but I just say it's a natural movement. If I'm going to go from this area, that is probably where my stretch and my pull is going to be. It's just an easy way to tell. Okay? How many of you guys have your hands up above your shoulders when you start, or your hands below your shoulders when you start? So above. Who has them above? Not bad. How many of you guys started below? Good. So before 2005, every Hall of Famer had their hands below their shoulders. Kind of a coincidence, right? So I like them below. If you are up, what I tell guys to do is to get into what we call a slot area on our load, and we go from this area. If you like to be here with your rhythm, I like to get into it. So I kind of dig with my hands to get into where I want to punch from and to create that stretch in my backside. Okay? There's 2 ways to load you can load with your move, or you can load late. Have you guys ever watched Mookie Betts when he does his move? When is it? He's already made his move, right? And then he's going to stretch off of his forward move, right? So that's a late load, okay? Most guys will do it with their forward load. So it'll be boom and in, and some guys will do it late. So they'll leave their hands, and then when they're forward move, they'll load in. So that's the two ways to get to your load point. Simple and easy, and I wouldn't mess with it if a guy has either or, okay? As long as he gets rhythm with what they do and what you're teaching, you can keep either or as a coach, okay? The one thing you need to realize is when you're trying to teach somebody how to hit is you got to figure out how they learn. It's a big thing for me at college guys. They're grown men. I'm getting grown men at 18 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old. They're coming back from either D1, coming in from a high school, whatever it is. These are grown men, and they still don't know how they learn. It's the hardest thing in the world for me when I ask, but it's something they need to find out, especially if you find out at your young age is how you learn. For me, I have to actually write it down, see it, and do it. That's just me. That's how I learn, okay? And I know guys that can do it different. Some people have to see what they do to learn it. Some have to write it down. Some have to just do it. But as a coach, when you want to do it, you have to learn what they learn, how they learn. And that will make it easier to explain whatever you're trying to teach to them, because sometimes I will say verbally, I want you to do A, B, and C, and they're looking at me like, okay, but then trying to create the movement and the patterns that I'm trying to create isn't going to happen because they're a visual learner. So then what I do is I can take my player, show him what he's doing, and visually he will understand it, right? That's a visual learner. That's how somebody learns. So as a coach, when you want to do it, learn how they learn in the beginning. And realize this, every single one of these guys is different. They're not the same. So you're going to have to teach, you're going to have to talk. Some words, some keywords that you are teaching is going to be totally different from the ones that you guys are doing on the side. I will go to player A and say, hey, I need you to start loading on time, and he has a different keyword than if I went to player B and gave him his keyword. Okay, I call them cues, basically. And every player I have almost has a separate cue because it just, something else in their brain will make it connect. So when you're teaching, learn how they learn, okay? If you guys are coaching and you're going to go about your hitting stuff. When I go from their hand loads and everything in, sorry, I just jumped around a little bit on learning. But when I go from their hand loads, so if I get into their hand loads and everything that I want, and I've already created their pattern recognition that I want to create with what I'm doing, then we get into our throw. But we literally will sit and do pattern recognition with our movements for probably a week to 2 weeks before they get it. Everybody learns at a different pace. I can give, I'll use my center fielder from last year, Casey Cummings. I can give him a pattern. He will learn it in 20 swings. Okay, I'll be like, hey, I need you to get your hands back to this point. When I got him from Santa Barbara, his hands were here and he punched from here. How much force can I get if I'm punching from my titty and going this way? Not much, okay? If I created this much force, how much force can I get? A lot more, okay? I can get more whip on the barrel, I can get more force. If you had an axe in your hand and you're trying to cut down a tree from this area, how much tree are you gonna actually get that axe in? Because you guys know that an axe, when we're swinging an axe, it's actually our natural movement of creating force. It's the same thing as a baseball bat, okay? That's why if you ever listen to Ted Williams, how many of you guys have ever actually read Ted Williams' The Science of Hitting? You guys are all hitters and you've never read Ted Williams' The Science of Hitting? Okay, write it down. If you're taking notes, write down Ted Williams' The Science of Hitting. It's one of the greatest books ever made for hitting. And literally, my grandmother gave me the book when I was 5. I probably understood maybe 10% of it, and every year I read it, even in college, okay? I read it when I played semi-pro, I read it all. So it's just something you're gonna get about it, because what he teaches is still relevant today. It realistically is. I mean, there's not many hitters you can drop in on any time period and they can whack, and Ted Williams would destroy it at any time, okay? What he did carries over all the time. So once you figure out your pattern recognition and we teach the kids what to do with the pattern recognition, we get their hands to a plate where they can punch from, where I can get clearance, then we go into what we're gonna do for our throw. For my throw, I basically leave them to have palm up, palm down, and I want it to be semi-flat, but I want the finish to be 2 ways. This is something that I do that not a lot of people do, is that I kind of let them do what they want in their throw, as long as they're tight and keep it simple and have their palm up, palm down. But the finish creates everything. So as long as we get to a good move and a good power move, we are going to naturally create good rhythm, and our hands are actually naturally going to get to our points, as long as you get to the 2 finish points that I always have. One's a one-handed finish, the other one is a two-handed finish. So everything that we do at Chabot is off of those 2 finishes. It sounds stupid and simple, but believe me, it's a little harder than it sounds. So on my two-handed finishes, we are going to hold top hand. This hand right here, our top hand. If you're left-handed, it's the opposite, obviously, right? So if I'm going to hold my top hand, I'm not going to let it break. So the finish is going to be similar to this. If I get into my move and I throw, it's going to be similar to that, and I'm going to finish out there with through. Okay, you see how I do it? I'm just not going to let my top hands whip through and break. I'm going to have it where it just comes through and goes through the zone. You understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Pretty simple. Two-handed finish is simple off of it, and what I tell guys is that your 2 hand and your 1 hand will help each other. Most hitters, when they do hit, they actually use both, but they do it on patterns of where the ball is located. Most hitters will use middle in for their 2 hand because they can get their power and their barrel out, and most hitters will go 1 hand on middle away because I can get my barrel angle to get to those angles and drive those areas. Okay? If I tried to do a 2 hand and not break my wrist, what's the most I can get to, probably?
Maybe a little bit like inside of your front leg.
Right. Well, just look at where my barrel is right now. Where's the ball going to go if I hit it right there?
Come on, guys.
It's not a trick question.
Talk about it all the time. Where's the ball going to go? Where's his barrel?
Forward.
Yeah, it's probably going to be more center to left, right? It's not going to be the other side of the plate. So if I'm getting thrown away, would I be able to get my barrel to an angle other than that? Probably, if I'm 2 hand finishing through the baseball. Not much. Okay, not many guys can actually get their barrel angle the way they need to do to be able to drive the outer half. Okay, so most guys, like I said, will have a one-handed finish on outer half baseballs. So it's going to do something similar to that finish, and I call it finishing with a dab. And we try to get our barrel to our back. So we finish through, okay? It's like punching somebody. Oh, I can't go on. You guys don't punch anybody anymore, but if I'm using this on a bag and I'm punching somebody through, I'm going to punch through them, not go to contact and pound up. Does that make sense? Because if I did that instead of punching through, okay? So I need to have the finish, and the finish will take care of the barrel and make you go through the baseball, basically. Okay? Does everybody understand what extension is? If you don't, it's okay. So for me, extension, best way I've ever heard it is Fred McGriff talked about power V, having a power V. If I got to extension, that is force. That is my full force that I am going to have on the baseball. The best hitters on the planet are in a 2-inch range from contact. Not in front, this is behind the baseball, okay? The baseball's here, I'm making contact. They're in a 2-inch range. The best hitters, the pro hitters in baseball, are on extension, on contact, and through on a 2-inch range. My college hitters are about 5 to 6 inches up from where the contact point is. A really good high school hitter is probably in the foot range. Okay, he's probably in the foot range on through. So I'm going to get to extension on my hands and through, and then I'm going to finish either 2 hand, or I'm going to finish with 1 hand, and I call it finishing with a dab and getting my barrel behind me. Okay. There's this weird thing that I found on almost minor league guys that I have, or guys that I have that are playing high D1 baseball, or just the best hitters I've ever coached, okay? They can clear their backside with their hands. That is just, if I told them to do it, you wouldn't be able to do it. But they all do it. So they all can get their hands to the point of here and clear, so they can get their angle and their barrel to this point on the inside pitch. So if you're throwing 93, 94 in the inner half, I can still get my hands there, and they clear their hands to it. Now, if I told my hitter to do something like that, they won't do it, okay? But there are drills to make it do it, and this is gonna sound weird. So if a guy cannot hit inside half fastballs are getting burning them by him, I put a tee directly on inside, I go extension out with their hand, and I make them hook the ball I go low in and I make them hook, okay? If you don't, I take it away from them once they've learned how to get their barrel in front of their hands, but it's something, just a little cheat code, because all it does is it creates what I'm trying to get for that pattern, is to get my hands to this point, to get my barrel to this point, okay? So I go low inside T, I do extension out, I put it here, and basically all it does is I get there, and I get to that point, and see how it makes my hands clear? So it just creates, it's a little cheat code. So if you have guys that you guys are coaching, and they're getting blown up on the inner half, you can do that for about 2 weeks, and watch what happens. They'll be able to get their barrel in front of their hands, they'll be able to drive inside half. My guys, when I do inside philosophy on inside or outside, is this. We are never going to be beat by a fastball mentality-wise, ever, ever. If you think that somebody can throw it by you, don't play the sport. Don't, because guess what? I love fastballs as a hitter. I love them. Best thing in the world to hit, fastballs, right? Throw it to me, throw it harder, I will hit it harder, okay? The way you train it, if you guys are like, oh my God, this guy throws 87, 88, 89, train it. So go into a cage, get a machine, set it up from low distance. We do 92 from 40 feet. You set up 92 from 40 feet, it feels like 180. Guess how long it takes them to hit it?
5 minutes.
Oh, no.
20 minutes.
Oh, no.
An hour.
Oh, no.
2 hours.
Weeks.
Okay, never mind.
I have really good hitters. My center fielder's at Texas. My right fielder's at St. Mary's. I have a hitter going to Kansas State right now, my shortstop. I have really good hitters. Okay, my center fielder last year was JC Player of the Year. Okay, he had 17 homers, batted .398. He's a dude. He's as good as it gets, right? For him, when he came in and did velo machine off of what we do, took him 4 weeks. That was him. Just took him 4 weeks. And I tell him all this. You are going to suck at it. Guess what? Are we really good hitters if we don't accept that sometimes we're really bad at things? No, you got to accept sometimes that you're going to be really bad at things and we have to work our butts to be better at it. But this is really hard. If I put a machine at 92 from 40 feet, you are going to get blown up. That thing is going to eat the best pitchers alive. I bring in, you ever heard of, what's his name? He was the catcher for the A's 2 years ago. He came out and hit with me. I don't even know his name right now.
Soderstrom?
No, not Soderstrom. He's old. He's old. He played for the A's for 3 years.
Vogt?
No, he's God.
Come on, there's some A's fans in here. You guys got to know who that is. Hatterberg? Good catch.
He's not a big leaguer right now. Anyways, long story short, this is a big leaguer. This guy played in the big leagues, played 4 years in the big leagues. He got in and thought he was watching my guys do it. My guys literally have failed at this for 3 weeks, and they know how to hit it now. It's nothing to them. We never get beat by fastballs. I don't care if you throw 98. We are going to be on time to a fastball. That ball gets on you, and it eats you up, and I tell them it's going to eat them up, okay? But the simple thing is you take your success rate at a small rate in the beginning. First time they go through, they do 20 hacks. 20 hacks. How many times do you think the best hitters do off 20 hacks hit the ball? Hit the ball. I'm just saying hit the ball.
4 times.
Once. They might hit the ball once. It might be a foul tip, might be something, and we'll scream for it. We're like, there it is. Success rate number 1. Next time they go in, the next day, they go in. What's their success rate going to be? What's it going to be?
2.
Yeah, they get a little more. They get probably 3 or 4. They might actually hit one fair. You know what I mean? 20 hacks. They get 20 hacks, boom. They get gassed up. They might hit one fair, foul 2 balls off. We're like, good job, we're getting there. Day 3, probably get about 4 or 5 more foul balls. We hit about 2 fair. Day 4 is kind of the same thing. We might add a little bit more. By the second week, we're probably hitting half the balls fair. By the 3rd week, we are mashing that thing. And it's pretty amazing how well the human body can do something that we put our minds to. If you guys can't dream it, you will never do it. Do you understand that? So if you want to be successful at anything that you're doing, in baseball, in life, in anything, if you guys can't tell yourself that you're going to be successful at it, you will not do it. You will not, okay? But if you dream big, I tell my guys like this. Dream for the stars, we'll land on the moon. I want every hitter to hit 500. How hard is that? I've only had, in my 10 years of junior college baseball, in all of the state of California, there's been 2 guys 2 guys in the last 10 years that hit 500. But I tell them all we're going to do it. Because you know why? Because I'll get 3 of them to hit 400. It just will. If we could dream at 5 and we hit 4, hey, those guys are going to be the best guys in Northern California. Right? But you have to be able to envision it. You have to. Your mind is an amazing thing. It will make you do some crazy things that you guys don't believe you can unless you can envision it. You understand what I'm saying? So if I tell them that, hey, guess what? 2 weeks you're going to fail at this, but by week 3 you will be really good. Guess what happens, actually? They are. They actually do, because they believe it. They know that they can do it. They see it. They train it in. If you train velo in, they will not get gassed. And just realize you can't get on them about it. Yeah, what's up?
Quick question. How
Yeah.
often were you hitting? Is this a daily thing or?
So this is the beautiful thing. I was talking about it with in JC baseball. We are on a baseball field more than any other college team around. We do 6 days a week. I mean, it is baseball, 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 baseball. We don't have time limits either, right? So our guys come at about 10 o'clock for early outs. We get done with weights about 6:30. So they're pretty much on the field from 10 to 6:30. Okay, so it's a long ass day and it's 5 days a week. With a 6 day of games, pretty much. We inter squad on Saturday. So it is a long time. So yes, they are hitting that velo machine Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then usually they hit it before we do inter squads on Saturday. And now then it becomes a routine pattern that we do every day. So if you wanted to know how I set up my hitting, it's kind of simple like this. I have 3 cages. Okay, 3 cages. My front cage is set in half. I have a 1-wheel spin ball machine that I do squishy balls out of, and I use, there's 3 bats that I kind of use on a regular if I was going to teach hitting. I have, Trey Hannum has these half bats. I don't know if you guys know what they are. They're half bats. They come in the length of whatever you want. It's 33, 34, okay, and they're built in half. It's basically, you took this bat and you sawed it down the middle, and it's like a paddle. Okay, and for me, it creates the right path, because if I'm not palm up, palm down, and if I snap and roll, you're not going to hit a baseball with it if I don't have the half bat. Okay, so the half bat creates what I need to in my swing path, and especially for top 2-hand swingers, it's the best thing ever because it shows that you have to basically stay punched and through the middle with it and without rolling. Okay, so we use that daily in our daily works, and we use in 1 cage, and then I have a spin ball thing that throws little soft squishy balls, and we hit breaking balls with the half bat so that I can stay on this. I have breaking ball rules that we're going to get into later. I'll kind of explain how I do all this stuff and how we see breaking balls, but that's what I have in half my cage. The other half is built up for tees. I have 2 tees set up on the other half of the cage where we just get loose. If I'm going into tee work, all my guys do 2 tees. We only have to set it up for 2 tees. High inside, so basically we would go from the front leg up, and as high as the tee will go, it's pretty much around, probably for me, it's about here. If you're taller, that's probably as high as the tee can go. And basically, we just want to make it hard. So I do high inside and low away. Those are the only 2 tee routines we do. We do 30-30, and then they would go into a soft toss routine where we go inside outside, an overhand sitted where they go inside outside also. Then we go straight into machines. For the machines we set up is a roly-poly righty breaking ball or roly-poly lefty breaking ball from a mini hack machine. Short distance just to get the break so we can see break, catch break, and see how the break works. Would you guys want me to get into my breaking ball routines? You guys want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is kind of a secret for my group. I've never really told anybody how to do it because I only do it for my guys because I think it's cheating. So what we do is, some people won't like it. If you're an old baseball addict, you're not going to like my routine. Righty breaking ball. Where am I going to hit a righty breaking ball? No wrong answer. Give me your answers. I just want to hear what you guys have to say. Go ahead.
You should go off of, but
Should go off of.
but you normally would pull it.
Okay, so let's break with that. So if you're watching lines, everything we do in hitting is a line. Okay, the lines are coming in. I have to create my right lines to hit it. And so when the lines are coming in, my barrel should be matching the plane and line of the baseball. Okay, so every breaking ball has what? Has a hump. I call it a hump. Okay, so it has an apex, and it's going to come down and spin into a hump. Some guys will. We show breaking balls when we're hitting, so we give information. So let's say I had an at-bat, guy got me on a hard slider. I'm gonna go to the next guy coming up and I am showing him the break of the breaking ball. So the guy got out, comes up, the next guy's coming up, he'll be like this. That's what it looked like. That's the break, top of the line where it started. This is where it snapped to. That's how big their break was. The shape, we show shape. And why do we do that? Because we're already telling the guy what it is and what it's coming at us and what the pitches were, but we are showing for the guy that is a visual learner also. You understand? So now they're getting both sides of it. So if you ever watch a Chabot game, you're probably wondering why the guy's coming up and he's like, you know what I mean? And he is. He's showing everything that we do so that the next guy can take it in. He's taking in all the information. Boom, he knows what the shape is. He knows what it starts at. And the worst is we had a second baseman last year. My center fielder, I'll go back to him. He was our leadoff guy. We had a second baseman that was the 9 hitter. You know what he said every time he came back when he showed? He'd get out. This guy batted 200. He was just really gritty, and I loved him, and he scored a lot of runs. But the one thing he did, he was horrible at giving information. So my one hitter would come up, he's Mr. All-American. What did he throw? He's super weak. He's like, you just K'd. What do you mean he's super weak? Stop writing, you're fine. He didn't give us information. I had to move him to the 8-hole because Casey was like, dude, I need somebody to tell me what he's hitting. This is getting brutal every time. He's telling me the same thing. And he keeps K'ing. It's getting awful. So when you share information, don't be simple like that. Share your information, give as much as you can so you can help the next guy succeed. Does that make sense, hitters? Makes it easy, right? If I went out there and showed the break, then I know what's coming a little bit better. Anyways, back to breaking ball rules. Our breaking ball rule is this. Righty, anytime it sits up on middle in, we look for middle in on righty breaking ball. So if the ball's coming anywhere from here and it's up, I want the breaking ball up. If it's up, we are banging it. We are crushing it and we are hitting it out. I have a rule with my hitters. We're either hitting it over the fence and over the trees or off the wall and through it, okay? We hit a ton of homers. I broke the home run record at Chabot last year for the whole state of California. It was 64, we hit 76 in 43 baseball games. We hit a lot of homers, and I'm good at teaching you guys how to hit homers. That's the fun part. So breaking balls were half of them, though. Okay, guys want to flip in that early breaking ball? Great, we eat it up. It's so fun. We call it auto backspin. It's already got spin. We're going to catch and drive. Okay, that's in. That's only in. So what we're looking for is in break and height. I want height. If the start of the breaking ball is below my belt or belly button, everybody uses a different measurement point, but as long as it's this area and the start of the breaking ball starts there. So it's coming out and then it darts. That's the apex and then coming down, right? If it starts below this point, what is it normally going to be? It's a ball. Simple take, right? So does that mean I'm not going to swing? How many of you guys swing at that ball that hits the dirt?
Raise your hand.
All raise your hand, because everybody has done it. I don't know why you guys are like, oh, I don't do that. We're all going to get fooled. We're all going to get slammed, okay? But if I have a simple breaking ball rule that states breaking ball that starts below my belt is a ball, I won't swing at it, okay? I won't, and it makes it easy. We take those pitches all the time, and they just bounce, and we're like, thank you, we're looking for it up. I want the breaking ball up. If the start of the righty breaking ball is center cut, where's the ball going to be? Outside, right? So what we do is if it's a ball off center cut, it is a ball. So that's our breaking ball rules. If it starts below the belt, let it go. If it is starting past center cut, a ball past center cut, it is going to be a ball. Simple, right? It's harder than it sounds. You guys get used to it if you start. If you really stick with it, you'll be really good at it. I'm telling you, you don't trust it in the beginning, then you start doing it and you're like, oh my God, easy take. Oh my God, easy take. I can drive the one that's in and hanging, and I can lay off the hard ones that are outside and balls, right? Because usually the ones we swing over the top are balls, right? We're giving them a strike, basically, okay? So if you stick with the easy breaking ball rule. The only thing I will say about the righty on righty is that we do this. If it is middle or a ball to the belt, where the ball's going to go, so a ball off middle, then we think center. We're going to hit it over the batter's eye. That's what our goal is. We do it with sliders too, so sliders will have more of a sideways spin nowadays. So we'll try to do that with sliders now, is hit it over the batter's eye. I want to go big time over the batter's eye and create backspin off the baseball. So when I get the slider that's a ball off, I'm not trying to pull as much, is I'm going to keep center cut and keep my angle towards center. Okay, does that make sense? Lefty, lefty, same kind of rules. Lefty, righty, it reverses. So if my angle's coming like this, where should the best angle be for my bat? If a lefty breaking ball's coming like this, where's the best angle? To match, right? So I should be thinking oppo gap. So anytime I get a lefty, the rules change, and it's basically the opposite. So if it's lefty, righty, I'm gonna have, if it's a ball in to a ball over, we're pulling. If it's outer half and up, we are going with the oppo gap. Okay, do you see what I'm saying? Because then my angles are the same, because the break is here. If you guys see the break, boom, my angle of my bat is gonna be oppo for righty, righty. So it's reverse if you're a lefty. Does that make sense? Lefty on righty, where's my angle gonna be? Oppo, yeah, right? You guys get it? You guys see the angles? It's fairly simple, and once you guys start doing it, it makes it super easy. Because guess what? I'm not kidding. It is auto bats, and those balls fly. Okay, they do, and we're gonna square them up really well. So big thing with me, even I talk homers and I do all this thing. My teams hit over 300. It's not like we are not good hitters. We're not. Our logos is this. You throw in on us, we are driving the ball out of the yard. You throw away, we're hitting 400. Okay, because we're gonna take our knocks away and beat you and force you to find a new way to make us out. Okay, and usually what they do is they'll feed into our hot zone and throw in, and we'll crush the baseball. So have that kind of mentality when we're going there and have that way of doing it, but know that everything is angles, and if you stick to your breaking ball rules, it makes it super easy.
Paul, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
On breaking ball, so you got a guy that's coming up and he's going like this on breaking ball. He's not putting this
He's got
kind of
12
shape.
spaces.
He top to bottom type of break. Is that ball that's up on the middle, we're gonna attack then, right? If it's top to bottom break?
Okay, so if it's top to bottom break, it's going to be similar to what we're doing. It's just going to be a location part. So again, if we're in, we're still going to be able to catch on the same side, righty, righty. We're still going to be able to catch. Once it goes middle, it's going to be a lot like the same thing with it going sideways. We're going to be more middle with the catch. But the rules will stay the same as where my aim point is for the top of where the break is. So if it's still here and it's down, we're gonna let it go. Still gonna let it go. If the guy has a little tiny one and he can slide it in on us, we're just gonna tip our cap until we're gonna switch it to something else. We will look if there is a pitcher that is good enough to be. We had a guy last year. He's now at Arizona State. Yeah, DVC, or he got drafted. Anyways, he went to Santa Rosa. He had probably one of the best sliders I've seen in a long time. I mean, the thing was like, the guys were coming up and showing me this. So I mean, I was just like, what is that? And they're like, I'm not kidding. It's doing that. And they're like, I can't hit it. And I'm like, I get it. What are we going to do? He carved us the first game, and we ended up just having to kind of do what we can to scrap out 5 runs. We bunted, we dragged, we punched the ball the other way. We did our best. We wear stuff too. We led the state in getting hit also. So we will sit there and wear it. It's called, I make them run a mile if they move their feet. So just be aware. Other schools have copied it. Long Beach State copied my mile rule. So if you guys go to Long Beach State, guess what? You have to wear it. We also give you elbow guards. Just something. Anyways, but the second time we played him, I said, okay, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take away his best pitch. We know we're going to get 70-80% sliders. We know it's good, and we know it's as good as it gets. So the only thing I know with sliders is that I want to literally, I think I can hammer them and we can get it out of the baseball. I have guys that are big, physical human beings, right? So I know that their pop fly is going to be 380, 390 feet. They are. If they get into it, it's a 380, 390 foot pop fly. So here's what I'm going to do. We went on the plate and we just hooked the poo out of him. And we beat him and hit 6 homers off him, and he never gave us problems again. But if a guy is really good and his stuff is dirty, up and down is dirty because it's hard to get on plane. Side with side, those longer to side, it's hard to get on plane, right? Anything like that, you have to find a way to do it. Usually it's going to be a scouting report thing, or you're just going to get grittier and be tougher than them, and you're going to find a way to get a knock and do something, okay? Everything that I'm talking about and when I go about hitting is all about squaring the baseball also. Don't get me wrong, we are driving and we're crushing anything in, but we are squaring up everything. So everybody gets big on exit velo and on launch angles and all this stuff. No, I don't really care too much. I care about squaring it up on the sweet part of the bat and having the right finish through it. If I have the right finish through it, I can hit it anywhere I want to, and I'm going to get through that baseball on the right plane. It's going to create everything that I need. And that's why my finishes are so big, because everything that I do is going to be on plane to the point. Now, where's my hands at right now?
By your waist.
By my waist, right? Because most balls are going to be where?
By your waist.
Waist to knees usually, right? So I'm going to be pulling my hands to this point. What do you watch a lot of guys do right nowadays? Right? They pull their hands high and they tip barrel. Is this? If I had an axe in my hand and I tried to hit a tree with this, what's going to happen?
You're gonna break
Has anybody ever swung an axe? I know you guys have. Oh, you have?
Yeah.
What happens if I swung an axe and hit a tree like this?
It's not gonna go well.
It's what?
It's not gonna go well. You're gonna have to like do that 1,000 times.
Oh, okay, well, it's not going to do anything. It might bounce back and hurt me, right? You're going to break your
You're not
wrist,
gonna
right?
do
So
well.
I want to be palm up, palm down on everything that I do when I hit. So my plane is going to be to the ball, and then if I'm finishing through the ball, look at how I have natural lift, right? So don't worry about launch angle, don't worry about exit velo, don't worry anything else. I just want to square the ball on contact. I want to have my finish, and I want to be able to get to my extension on all pitches. Okay, does that make sense on everything? The body will take care of a lot of other things. I can watch everything in between, and I can give you 52 different things to do. But if I have a great setup to create energy, and I'm creating stretch on everything I do, my hip is going to have a reverse hip or hinge. I'm going to get into my butt cheek. I'm going to create energy. And if I flow and throw, I'm going to release energy to the barrel. And when I finish, I'm going to create my plane. And I'll be able to destroy baseballs, okay? The rest of that is hand-eye stuff, right? If it's hand-eye, where I'm going to get to it, and it's going to be that I can hit it on the sweet spot and square it up. And that's all I want to do out of my hitters. I want them to square the ball up. We're going to hit it as hard. If they throw 98, we're going to hit 104 off them. And we're going to be confident when we're doing it, because we are what? We're the best, right? And it sticks. Every player I have, when they step in the box, you guys all have routines? It's key to have a routine, okay? I tell every one of them we do two things that are a must. Everything else you do is yours. Make it yours. Okay? It shouldn't look the same as the guy before you, because why? It's yours. Every one of you is different. Have your own routine. But there's two things I make all of them do. We all have focus. We all breathe for every pitch. And we flip our wrist to get loose. Boom, boom. Everything else, it's all you. You want to tap 5 times. You want to swing the bat 62. You want to get in there and do some weird. My home run hitter last year by the right fielder going is that St. Mary's. He's going to get drafted this year. He had 21 homers, tied the state record. That kid had the ugliest pre-pitch thing you've ever seen in your life. You would think that he was special. I'm not kidding you. If you'd watch him come up and he'd be like, and you're like, oh my God, what is going on? I wanted to get rid of it for the whole time I knew the poor kid. I'm like, dude, please stop doing that. It looks ridiculous. And he's like, coach, it gets me ready. I tell myself I'm the best when I'm doing it, and it gets my hands in the zone. He had 21 homers. Who am I to tell him what to do? Like, go ahead, dude. I'm fine. I am fine with that ugliest thing I've ever seen. Believe me, the other team is laughing at this poor guy while he's doing it, and he's like, I don't care. I'm going to hit a homer. And then he gets in the box, and he's like, Yakums! And then what are you going to tell him after that, right? Because everything he did, his prep work, that man hit from, I had to come to the cage at 8 o'clock in the morning, because he made sure all his classes were online. He had his class on his phone while we're hitting 150 baseballs in the morning, 8 in the morning. He was a nutball, and it's good. It's good to be a little crazy about what you love, right? And all you guys apparently love baseball, right? So go ahead, do it, right? All the time. Have fun doing it too. The best baseball players are the best workers. It's the truth. That's why this game's so amazing. You don't have to be huge. You can be small and tiny and crush it. Why? Because they work their tails off to do it. And if you want to do it, you can. Just put it in here. Because the brain is an amazing muscle. If I don't tell myself I can't do it, I won't do it. But if I go, you know what? I'm going to hit 500. I'm going to crush, and we're going to win this whole thing because I'm going to be one of the best baseball players on the planet. Guess what? You have a shot. Because if you can dream it, you can do it. And that's part of the thing. That's one of the best things about it is mentality. Have the mentality to be the best at all times in everything that you do, and you will. How serious do you take your reps?
Pretty serious.
Pretty serious?
Yeah, you should.
Every rep. Every rep.
He does. That
He
one.
does?
That one does.
That's good. Every rep. So if you guys came out to a Chabot practice and you watched my shortstop, I love my shortstop. The man does not talk. I've heard him say 4 words. He's going to Kansas State. I've helped him in the recruiting process. He's gonna have a chance to play Pro Bowl one day. He's gonna be really good. He might be an All-American this year. He spoke 4 words. Yep, I'll do that. That's it. And he goes and does it. But his reps are amazing. He is 6'3", 200 pounds, and he's a shortstop. Think how big of a man that is, right? And he floats around the yard. He kind of walks like Lurch. He's all ready, but man, his reps are amazing. Every rep is game style. Every rep is full bore. Every rep is to the point. He is on what he wants to do. He knows what he wants to do, and he's focused on what he's doing. And that rep is amazing, right? So what do you think his gameplay is? Amazing, right? We play 8 fall ball games. Guess how many home runs that kid hit?
12.
Almost 10. 8 games, he hit 10 homers. That's why he's going to Kansas State. I mean, there's a reason, right? They're a top 25 program. You know, they're going to be in Big Ten. They're really good, right? There's a reason why they pick them. But your reps have to be that good. Have that kind of focus on what you're doing. When you're on the tee, focus in on what you're doing, okay? When you're on the machine, focus on what you're doing. Every rep, make it important. And if you have to do your routine, or you even have to step out and do your breathing and your refocus on everything you do, on each rep, just to make that rep better, go ahead. Make it game-like, okay? Do what you have to do to focus in on that rep to make it good. Because the better your reps are in practice, the better you will play in a game. Does that make sense? You guys get it? You get it? Okay.
With our young guys, can you talk to them a little bit about refocus? Because
Refocus, yes.
obviously with the young guys,
It's a little different.
Yeah.
It's a little different. So, for us, when we're doing something, you guys need to realize that everything that I'm doing, I want to be able to be in the moment. Okay, in that situation, in the moment. So if I'm taking 1 ground ball rep, and let's say I'm focusing on something. My coach told me I had to get my butt down and my hand out and get to the right form and play through the baseball, right? Okay, so that's what my focus is. That's what my brain's going to be, and I'm going to do it. Oh, boom, boom. Oh, God, I went sideways. Let's refocus, get back to it, do the rep, okay? I breathe. We tell everybody to breathe. We have them breathe, exhale, and tell their brain what to do. Okay, if I'm working on my backhand and I want to set up my backhands every time and play through the baseball and I want to do it, I'm going to do my breath in between too, so power breathe. Take a breath, go ahead and do it with me, fellas. You guys all power breathe? Breathe it in. Breathe it out. Refocus my brain on what I want to do. Tell it to do the task that is at hand. Does that make sense? You guys understand? It sounds kind of corny to some people, right? It's like just breathing and telling yourself what to do, but it works. Okay, it really does. It really does, because then my focus can be on task A. I am doing task A. I'm focusing on what I'm doing on that point, and it will make it work to that point. Okay, but that's the type of focus point you need to have. Okay, if I'm working on singular things, I should be singular focused on what I'm doing. But every rep should be a nice breath. Focus on what I'm doing, and then go to work on doing it. Okay? If you guys take all your reps together, what is going to happen? Let's say I just took ground ball to ground ball. Boom. Oh, ground ball to ground ball. Never stop. Boom, boom. What's going to happen?
Lose focus.
I'm gonna create a bad habit. I'm gonna do something weird. I'm just gonna try to get through what I'm doing, basically, because I want to get done with what I'm doing. Okay? Has anybody ever heard of all of us humans have fight or flight? Does that make any sense? Have you guys heard of this?
Yeah.
Young guys, have you ever heard of fight or
I was
flight?
thinking about that today.
You talked about it today?
Yeah, I saw a creepy dude walking up to me, and I was like, I have to either use fight or flight.
You do.
I fought.
You do.
I fighted.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, it's why we're still here. It's why we're still here as humans. But for me, fight or flight works into baseball the best. Okay, because what happens is when we're tired and when we're in the box and we get adrenaline going, what happens? Our fight or flight kicks in and we go back to our bad habits, whatever is simplest for our brain. Okay, so what I tell my hitters to do, and when we do offensive reps, we do mass fungo for my infielders or whatever we're doing. We are massing them out to the point of exhaustion, so that our fight or flight kicks in, so that when we are adrenaline pumped and ready to go, that rep is going to be a fight or flight rep that we have trained into us. So it's what we've trained into what we're doing. So when I say, how many of you ever heard, don't hit when you're tired? A lot of you guys, right? I love hitting when I'm tired, but this is what I tell people to do. When you're tired, your fight or flight kicks in, because we want that second adrenaline rush. It's the same thing as what happens when I'm in the box. When I'm tired, though, I want to be easier, simpler, and more form. So if I'm doing my infield rep and I'm tired, I want to be simple, easy, and stay with form so I can retrain my fight or flight, and that's what we go to when I'm in the moment of a tough situation or any time it happens. So swinging is the same thing also. If I swing 300 swings, I'm dead at, let's say, 150. Most guys get really, really tired about 150 swings. So at that point, somebody will come in and they'll be like, what are you doing now? I'm training my fight or flight. If you ask any Chabot guys, they do it all the time. And all they are doing is they are training their movement patterns, and they're simplifying everything they do and being light, so that when they go to work, when they are pumped up and tired, their fight or flight kicks in and they've already retrained it. They've already pushed it aside. Their fight or flight now is their good swing. Does that make any sense? Not to the young guys, they're just looking at me weird. But it's all right. You guys, if you're tired, all you do is you tell yourself, I'm going to be lighter what I do, and I'm going to focus on my form. Does that make sense? So I'll be basically, I know I got to get to my point and be easy, and I'm going to form it out every time, every rep. I might not hit some screamers, I might not be perfect, but that form that I'm putting into my fight or flight, into my training, and to what I'm doing is now going to stake in my brain and be the new way I train. Okay, and now it's going to be, you ever seen somebody that gets super tired and they start doing something weird at the plate? You ever seen them like they added a leg kick when they weren't a leg kick guy? Why did they do that?
Because they're tired.
Because they're tired and their fight or flight kicks in, and guess what? They had a leg kick last year that somebody got rid of, and that's still in their head when they get tired. So if you can retrain that point and have that kind of focus on what you're doing, you'd be really good. The little guys are looking at me like, dude, you talk forever. I know, I can talk hitting for a long time.
Then keep doing it.
Okay.
Paul,
so,
can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
It's about the stretch.
The stretch. Okay, so for me, we have a muscle that goes across. Okay, so for us, we have basically these two muscles. It goes across like this. It stretches from this point. So when I stretch, I feel it into this. So on a natural stretch guy, I was saying there's 3 planes. So Cody Bellinger does a natural stretch, right? Cody Bellinger stretches into his swing pattern and creates it. So he creates a stretch, and basically you'll pinch a little bit in your back, but you'll have a stretch, and you feel it from this point to here, okay? You can all do it. If you all got in and you created that stretch, you'll feel it, okay? And that's like a rubber band action. Those muscles will actually bounce, okay? So if we can get to our perfect stretch point, what's gonna happen when it releases? What happens when you release a rubber band? Stretch a rubber band. Creates energy and it flies, right? So that's the whole point of stretch, is that if I get to my right stretch tension in my body, which is for me, the easiest way to point it, like I said, is that if I'm punching a bag and I'm going to hit it really hard, we go to our natural stretch position. We actually do. This is where I throw from. So for me, if I was going to get to my hands in that point and I created my stretch, it's the same spot as where I do. You see what I'm saying? But that's where I'm going to have bounce. My hands are going to be faster. My body's going to work more efficient. Everything that comes out of that position is forceful, right? It's creating what I need to create. So if I can create stretch, I'm doing a really good job of getting to the best parts of my body to create what I needed on when I hit the baseball. Does that understand what stretch is? Okay. It's basically a muscle that is a cross muscle that gets into our zone. So if I create that stretch, I'm going to be able to create bounce and create speed and create force to what I need to do.
Much like a pitcher, right?
Much like a pitcher. Same thing, pitchers have the same thing. If you watch a hitter and a pitcher on their movement patterns, they're pretty darn close. Okay, if I'm a pitcher and I'm getting back to my stretch, it's pretty darn similar situation, right? Because they're creating the same muscle pattern, the same muscle is being used. It's pretty amazing. If you ever watch them both side by side and do it, it's pretty much the same thing, okay? Because it's the same movement patterns, same bodies that is being used, same muscles that are being used to do it, okay? Their force is throwing the baseball, our force is throwing the bat. So it's the same exact thing. You guys understand what stretch is now? A little bit? Create it then. Work on it. what I tell my young guys when I had young guys, when I was a high school coach, and I had freshmen and I had 8th grade so they can learn the situation, is I would say, look in a mirror, go in a mirror and watch where you set up your hands. So if, let's say my hands are here or whatever, and then I turn sideways and I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, is that stretched? Do I have any, am I getting any force out of that? Or do I need to get a little bit back further, right? So for me, most guys, if you just, so like I said, took your hand and reared it back, you'd create it and you'll feel it. Okay, so if you guys all stood up, don't hit each other. You can do it fairly easy if you gotta get a little space, and you just rear.
Do it, guys.
Just rear. Go ahead and rear.
I want you to feel this because this is really important.
Oh, got the stretch. That leg. Oh. Ooh, lefty. Like it.
Yeah, he's
Ooh,
yeah.
lefty.
He's a gamer, man. That's our little gamer.
Yo, I was passing my
He
bag.
gets after it, that dude.
You guys get it? You guys feeling it? Oh, get your hands back. Ready?
I play Valorant.
Get your right now. Go ahead.
Guys, do you feel that when when he's showing you on that stretch is it's gonna the scaps are gonna go back. That scap's gonna go back.
You're gonna feel the easier way to say it is like he was saying with your scap, you're gonna feel a pinch. That's how Donaldson would talk about his pinch when he does it, he's scap low. For me, like I said, I feel it more here across. So it's gonna be the same action though. Boom, get into it, okay?
Paul, I was on Alan Yeager's call the other day. It was like a 5-hour call.
Oh, I heard it.
And it was unbelievable. But the guy that did the hitting part and has had a lot of success, he said Bellinger and Corbin Carroll are 2 guys that have a chance to hit 400.
Hit 400.
That's what he said.
I can see Carroll. I don't know about Dylan. Too much swing and miss. So, yeah.
Question about schedule.
Schedule.
When,
Hey, hold on, guys. Oh, go ahead.
for your student athletes.
Yes.
Give me a day in the life.
Oh, a day in the life. Oh, interesting. Okay, so it goes like this. Most of our guys' schedules are 8 a.m. to about 12 o'clock classes. Okay, they'll have a separate schedule. It's usually a Monday, Wednesday schedule and a Tuesday, Thursday schedule. So they'll have 2 classes on a Monday, 2 classes on a Tuesday that are separate. Those 2 classes will be Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. So it's about a 15-unit load. It's usually 3 units a class. So it's usually 8 to 12. 8 to 12 class. Nowadays, because of COVID, it's actually made the athletes a lot better. So like I said, most of our guys are online. They're used to online schooling because they all went through the COVID thing. They actually like it better because they can pretty much sit there and listen to a lecture and do whatever they want, right? So most of our training is our schooling is online unless the guy wants to be in person or if they have a lab class. So Fridays for us is a lab. If you are in chemistry, blah, 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 that has a lab. Now all of our maths have labs, stats has a lab. Everything that is pretty much a 5-unit class, what they consider a 5-unit class, which is like I said, chemistry or stats, or what else is a 5-unit class? It's pretty much those. It's either a science or a math, or have a lab, okay? So their labs are due on Friday, and that's all, usually just depends on the teacher. Some people don't even have to go to their labs. So Friday is usually an open day for them at college. So it's usually Monday through Thursdays classes. If they have a tougher class, they have a lab on Friday. We are on the baseball field. We have early outs at 10 because most guys will be able to come at 10. 10 a.m. is our early outs. We'll do either an infield drill for an hour, or they will hit for an hour, or I do one-on-ones with them in the cages for what we're either lacking or something physical there or something like that. We have practice from 12:30 is hitters meeting or defensive meeting. 1 o'clock we start practice. So 1 o'clock is stretch and catch. And we go through till about 3 o'clock. We're in the weight room from 3:30 to 5:30. So that is the routine of a junior college baseball. Pretty much, it's a lot. So if I would, so I have all my friends are at D1s and coaching right now. If I was going to they've all coached at JCs also, and they know that the patterns are different. If I was going to take that schedule and move it to a D1, it's not the same, but they are doing pretty much the same because they are allowed to be on the field kind of the same hours. So if you did hours, It's probably going to be the same, except it's not going to be as many coaches on the field because their schedule is different with ours thing. But that's pretty much a college schedule. It's pretty normal. Does that make sense? Cool.
So you guys hear that? To be amazing, you have to prepare.
Oh,
You're on the field a shitload. It's not 2 hours, guys, a day.
No.
It's 6 to 8 hours a day.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, and if you think that the minor leagues and pro guys aren't doing the same thing, they are. I have 7 players in the minor leagues right now, and all they talk about is how much they prep their bodies, and when they're on the off season, they're at drive line doing this to learn a new pitch, or they're going and they're going to throw live to my guys, and they are always constantly working at their craft. And you guys got to take it like that too. I mean, literally the best players I've ever had started young. So I coached Robert Stevenson. It's the only first-round draft pick I ever had. He pitches now he was with the Pirates. I don't know what Robert's with right now.
Cincinnati,
He
Pirates.
went aside, then he went to Pirates.
Yeah.
He did the Rockies. He's still in the big leagues. He's trying to get to his retirement, basically, which is 8 years. You get 34%, or 3/4 of your retirement at 8 years and full.
I think it's 8 and 9.
8 and 9.
Yeah.
So you get full. So he's almost on his 8, where he gets pretty much 200 grand and full everything for his family. So he's been trying to get to it, and I think next year is his eighth year. But for him, when I had him in high school, this man ran 3 miles a day. Every day, rain, sun, or shine, anything under the wind, he was running 3 miles. He was nuts. Okay, he looked like a Greek god too. I mean, he was born with a thunderbolt. He threw 99 in high school. He was a first-round draft pick. Signed for $2 million, okay? But this guy was nuts about what he did. He took care of his body. He ate right. He was a 4.0 student. There was nothing that he couldn't do on what he wanted to do with focus that would beat him. You would not beat him with focus or work. He would outwork you. He would outfocus you, and he was intent on doing what he wanted to do. There's things that you guys need to do it. There's one thing that I will say this. When I tell every guy this, that you are going to work your tail off and have a routine, but you also need to have something that is not a person, a place, or a thing that is away from baseball also. Because let's say you go to play in Illinois. Let's say I sent somebody to Michigan, Mike Bedard. He's now the hitting coach for the Detroit Tigers. Bedard went to Michigan. What's in Michigan? Anybody know what's in Michigan?
Cold weather.
Tons of snow, right? Bedard's by himself. He's a shortstop, and he said he was on the field. They have a dome for their baseball side. It's a football field, but it's a baseball. They can play full year-round baseball in it. They'd go out, they'd play. He'd be there from 10 o'clock till 5 o'clock, hit the weights, do everything else. The hard thing for him was that he had his routines down, he had everything down. He didn't know how to get away from baseball when he wanted to get a break, because you are going to fail and it's going to be hard. And there's going to be a day where you're like, oh my God, I do not want to get up tomorrow and do it. So what do? You have to get your brain and reset it. You have to have something away that is not a person, a place, or a thing that you can always do by yourself. I tell everybody that does it, I have big leaguers to minor leaguers, the guys in college that I've all done it with, and sometimes it's something as simple as a movie. They get their brain off baseball, from all that work that they did, they can shut it off, get their body to heal, and they've done all their nutritional facts and everything they need to do, but they need to get their mind to heal too. So you get away from it for a couple hours, then you get back on the grind the next day because you've been able to set it. Some guys, it's fishing. It's something as simple as fishing, and they don't even care if they catch it. I have 4 guys that are in minor leagues right now, and they all fish, and they're horrible fishermen. They haven't caught one fish. They're horrible. But the whole process of doing it after their workouts in their system, it clears their brain so that the next day they can go back to work and get after it. Because you do. You have to get after it. You have to have your routines down, and you have to be focused on what you're doing. Okay? So what I tell everybody is how many of you guys have a problem gaining weight?
Yeah.
You lift and you get a problem gaining weight, right? Yeah. So this is a big thing. I have a great story about this. I recruited this player when I was at LC. His name was Stephon Ray. Stephon Ray played at Occolantes High School. He was the second baseman there, and everybody around him was D1. Catcher was Thatcher Hurd. He's at LSU. He throws 95. He's really good. Shortstop, Diggs Diaz. He's at Vanderbilt playing third base and shortstop. But this little second baseman, who was 5'10", 135 pounds, was the only one not. Left fielder, right fielder, Long Beach, everybody was D1, except for him. He was their closer also. With this, they had a stacked team. I think they won NCS that year. They were really good. And this little guy, he threw 85, 86 at 135 pounds, 5'10", with a sturdy slider. Just boom, see you later, peace out. You can throw it where you wanted to. I recruit him because he did this one thing where a ball went sideways over the first base, and the first base didn't see it. He ran it all the way down. He was at double play depth from second base, and he busted his butt all the way to catch a ball. And I'm like, oh my God, if that guy has intent to do that, guess what he's going to do when he actually gets in the weight room and actually gets a pattern where he wants to do everything, he knows how to work. If you show guys how to work that really want to work, what happens? It gets special, right? It gets really special. If you really want to and you want to work and you show them how to do the work, it gets really special. Steph did it all. He worked his tail off. He went and signed up for, we did a nutrition packet where we wrote down everything that he ate for the whole week. Sunday, write it down. Monday, write it down. Tuesday, write it down. They wrote it down. He weighed himself Sunday, wrote everything down for the week, and weighed himself the next Sunday. Guess how much weight he gained?
5 pounds.
0 pounds.
0. No, he gained 0. He worked out. He did everything right. He did everything he needed to do. He thought he ate enough, and he was like, I didn't gain a pound. And I'm like, well, guess what, buddy? You have to double your intake. Some of us, all of us have to do what we have to do to gain weight, and when you're young, it's harder to gain weight. Believe me, I can eat something and gain 5 pounds right now. That's just me, but I'm old, right? You guys, it's gonna be a little different. So what he did was, he doubled what he did. He already wrote down what he ate, boom, had his week down, and what he did is every time he ate one meal, he had 2. If he had 2 bowls of, if he had 1 bowl of oatmeal, he had 2 bowls of oatmeal. If he had 1 steak, he had 2 steaks. He doubled everything he ate. Guess what he looks like now?
He's probably 215.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. So he actually grew too. He ended up becoming 6'1". He was 5'10" and 138 pounds when I got him. He's 6'1" now, and he's 205, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. He pitches in the Mariners organization. He went to Washington, was first team all Pac-12 out of a JUCO. He was really good, and he was really focused on what he wanted to do. He was also a 4.0 student. The guy was amazing. But the other favorite story about him is he made $1 million, I believe, before he was 16. So when he goes to places, all the coaches actually don't ask him about what he does. They ask him for business tips. Smart man, but he was focused on what he wanted to do.
How do you make $1 million?
Tesla. He invested in Tesla when he was little.
So
I mean, I would too.
Yeah, smart kid. But that's what you have to do to gain weight. Is you have to actually write what you do, have a food journal. Okay, have a food journal. Be really stick with it and write it all down. And if you have to weigh yourself at the end. And if you don't gain a pound, double your intake and watch how much you'll actually start gaining 1 pound to 2 pounds a week. It works. It really does. Okay. But you have to be that focused. Believe me, guys I have right now that are doing it, we do it all the time with our guys at the JC level. All my guys that gain weight, we all have food journals. And they say the hardest time is the first 2 weeks because you just don't want to eat that much food. It's a lot. And then your body gets used to it. Okay? But if you are trying to gain good weight, go ahead and double your intake. It will work.
Paul, when you break up your 168 hours, we talk about with these guys, they're 168 hours.
Okay.
How much time would you say should be? I mean, there's a lot of trainers that are telling kids now that they don't need to run, and I'm hearing that a lot from kids. Coach, we play baseball. We don't need to run.
So you do need to run. It's just different. We don't. So I still have all my pitchers still do. We still run long distance. It's not like we don't. Now this is the difference between that. They say that long distance running slows down fast twitch, and I understand the philosophy and I understand what it is, but nothing will compensate for being in shape except for excessive running. Like it just doesn't. So we run sprints every day after practice, and it's not from doing something wrong, it's not from doing anything, it's just a part of our routine. And everybody runs during practice, like it's a madhouse. Our outfielders probably, if they did a step count, would probably be at 10 miles easy, like just the amount of running that they do, because they're running bags, they're running for baseballs and flies, they're doing all this running, and everything is full bore. So you guys have to be in shape to do anything, and especially pitching. If you want to pitch past the 3rd or 4th inning, you better be in shape, right? Like I told you the story about Robert. Robert, like I said, woke up every day and ran 3 miles. Like he just did it to get in shape. That didn't even count what he did after he ran, right? We were doing pulls still back then. We still do pulls nowadays, just to get the blood flow, but we're doing more stuff now on a bicycle treadmill, because for us, if we time it out 30 minutes, it gets the same effect as if we're running around and now they're not going to get hit with a baseball. So, because that happens too. We take BP while they're running and they just get dotted sometimes. So we have them on a treadmill. But yes, you have to have cardio into your routine. A lot of the trainers that whenever I do speed training and with other guys, they will explain it as this. If you are a position player, they want 2 days of cardio days and 3 days of hard sprints. So that you are changing your sprint program and you're keeping your what am I missing the word for? Being in shape, basically. To keep yourself in shape, you need the 2 days of cardio, but you need the speed training in between so that you're also building on what you're doing. Okay. The newest, latest word is fast twitch. Is that like if you are a scout and you're talking to a scout, basically I'm going to hear twitching 52 million times from the scouts, but they're going to be like, it's twitchy, that's twitchy, that's not twitchy, that's twitchy. They're looking for fast twitch, and that's what they're calling it. It's just how our muscles work, how fast we can get them to work, and how we can get to our points. And so they're using a catchword and a keyword, but if you do your sprint work, that's what we're creating. We're creating fast twitch muscles, we're creating sprints. That's why if you see a lot of guys, we're doing a lot of jumping stuff, a lot of box drills, a lot of quick 5-yard sprints. You guys do 5-yard sprints and do lines kind of like a basketball player would do. Like that's good for you because it's getting you the burst, Everything we want to do is a burst. Okay, because what is, if I'm on the mound and I'm pitching, what is that? Fast twitch, it's a burst, right? And if I'm on the plate and I'm swinging, what is it? Fast twitch, just twitching to the point, okay? The only thing I think I didn't go over with everybody when I was doing my hitting is actually the front leg thing. This is the big thing. So how many of you guys say what a bent front knee?
There's some of them that do, absolutely.
You guys do? Okay,
Some
so when I'm hitting, I tell all my hitters I want a firm front side. So I want to have brakes. We have to have brakes in our lower half. So we have to be able to move to a brake. So it's creating energy. We have our brake, so we get force to the baseball. Okay, so I always tell everybody we're going to hit with a firm front side. And it doesn't matter if you roll into your firm front side or if you land. As a hitter, when I hit, I had to land with a firm. So I was a toe tap guy, boom, boom, and I had to land with a firm. It was just, I had to do it. I had to create my angle and create my break. Some guys can do it when they roll to it. They can land with bent, and then when they rotate to it, they can get to their firm. Either or works, but I have to have that firm front side to have a break so that break will create the force that I need. So you guys know why Mike Trout is so good? No? Anybody? So they found that Mike Trout actually inverts his hit when he creates force. So he actually, has anybody seen Otani do his hitting thing lately?
Yeah.
So I went to Japan and I studied for like a couple of weeks and what they do. They're way ahead of us. They had water bags before we did. I saw them back in 2005, 6 when I was there. They had water bags. They were doing stretch drills before we were. They were doing a lot of stuff. They were doing over velo drills before I was doing over velo drills about 12 to 14 years ago, and people were calling me stupid. They're like, why? Why are you letting them fail? I'm like, because if we don't fail now, we won't succeed later. Like, it's okay. Beat them up now for them to get good. Because I don't want them to see 95 for the first time on the mound. What's going to happen? Yeah, it's going to be hard and fast, right? So I want them to already see it and succeed at it, right? So they were doing all this stuff before, but what he inverts his hip. So he does a little scissor move, gets into it, and he inverts his hip, which is hard to do. Don't try to do it, by the way. Don't do it. It's just something freakish to do. He also has short arms. I shook his hand and dug out before, and I was like, nice to meet you, Mike. But that's tiny and dinosaur hand.
Paul, is the reason why he does that, right? Okay, so there's guys out there that are teaching this scissors hitting.
Yeah. So if I am a scissor guy, I leave him alone. So if you are a natural scissor guy, I don't mess with you. I don't leave it alone. I don't teach it either. So if you are a natural guy that turns on your backside and goes through, most hitters do. We get to this point. Okay, there's 2 lines that I'm looking for: a pull through my knee, a straight line from my head to toe. That means I'm creating force. I'm getting to my points that I need to for contact. But if you are a scissor guy, you naturally do. If you watch the 70s, what is Roberto Clemente doing? You guys even know what that is?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, good. Well, have you ever seen a video of that man hit? Holy crap, his leg is off the ground. He is scissoring into everything. And you watch most of the 70 stuff, they're actually turned into a scissor. Most guys are hitting here, and they're already scissoring into their ball. Okay, it's a natural movement. It really is. If we were chopping down a tree, you'd actually do it. Okay, you would actually get the X, and you'd actually throw the hip back, and you'd actually do it, because you're creating force in a natural plane. So if you do it naturally, I don't mess with it. All I say is, it can't be over a foot. Okay, because I mess with letting you go with guys that do it naturally, and if you naturally do it like I just did, your natural move actually goes to your front side. Now, can I hit from this situation right here?
No.
Am I balanced? Am I going to be able to see plane and ball moving and do something with it? No. Okay. So what I tell guys is when we do it, we shrink it up, and I do use farm boards on a lot of things because it just I want to kind of mess with people while we're doing our training, because the more I can do, the more we can be better at what we do. Basically, we can train the body to be athletic in what we're doing. So I don't know if you guys know what farm boards are.
The guy, his kid used to play for us.
Okay.
Bianchi.
Okay.
He owns a place in Vegas.
Yeah.
And he was his place started the farm boards. Yeah.
Correct. So when we do scissor work with it, and we will do step and turns, so we then get the feel that we can feel the firm front side. Mostly that's what we do it off of, so we can get that hip kind of pivot point and go. But I tell them move to be it's only less than a foot. Okay, and I make them do it, and we'll have a board behind them so they don't slide all the way, because they're your natural movement, like I said, will make your slide go this way, and I can't do much. I look like I'm, doing something with a figure skating kind of a move. So I tell them all that we're going to do it in a foot range. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and that's only if you do it naturally. If you do it naturally, I will leave you alone, and then I'll make you perfect it. Okay, so that it's a perfect move for every time, every swing, and every time. But most guys don't. So if you don't do it naturally, I tell them stay with what you're doing. It's perfectly fine. Okay, and I won't teach it into you, because to me, it's not a natural move that you are doing.
Okay, so we have a lot of guys that hit off that bent front knee.
Yeah.
So their heads they're
All
running
over
with
the
their
place.
head.
Yeah.
Can you talk to them about how important it is?
Yeah, so I tell everybody on our forward move, we're going forward, but we're not. Okay, so when I'm creating my weight and I'm creating my shift, how much did I actually move?
Just sat like a pitcher would.
Right? How much did I actually move forward?
4 inches.
Huh?
You just replanted it. You didn't move very much.
Right, well, did my line go anywhere? I got a tiny bit, maybe I got a little hip slide, maybe 2 inches. We're going forward without going forward, if that makes any sense. So if I have a bent knee and I did it, how much did I go forward? A lot, right? So my head dropped. If I started my head, pitcher, let's say, where do you guys start your moves? If you guys are starting a move, where are you getting into your load and starting your move from? If the pitcher's here, where are you guys doing it?
Timing delivery, guys. How are you timing
How are
guys
you timing
delivery?
delivery?
When you're coming down the head.
I see the little guys doing it right. What are you guys talking about?
That's the problem.
On separation.
On separation. My move is his move. I'm going to load with him. I'm going to load on his move. So if he comes here and he separates, I get into my load on separation. We should always load early, never load late. Okay? Can't be late to a fastball, right? Rule number 1 I gave you, okay? Can't be late to a fastball. So if he's splitting his hands, I'm going into my load and doing it. But if I go in and I have a big deep bent knee, how much did my head, if my head started here, where's my head at now? What's that going to make the ball do? Bounce. I call it bouncing. Okay, the ball bounces on you. You ever heard somebody come back and go, man, that ball bounced? The ball doesn't bounce. Right? Your head does. Okay? So if I don't have a firm front side, I can do anywhere in between with my head, and that's going to make the ball bounce, plus I have no force. So if I'm at this situation, what can I get into the baseball? My arms. Basically, whatever I can create out of my arms. Okay? It's basically, I call it a flip. So it's like being fooled with 2 strikes, and all I can do is, oh God, and flip kind of a thing, right? That's my best bet. But if I don't have that firm front side and that break, I can't create power and force to the baseball, and it also keeps my head on line with whatever I do. So if you ever watch Mookie Betts got a big move, doesn't he? Right? Right? And his head comes down, but if you watch when he does it, he's doing this, and his head sinks into where it needs to be, and he stays on plane, so his head doesn't move. Right? Yelich, you ever watch Yelich? Yelich stands up, and then he crunches into his move, but he does it before the ball comes out. So you can have as much movement as you want, like Barry Bonds here, boom, 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 and movement in, as long as we do it before and our head stays on plane on break and we're into our zone. Does that make sense? You guys get it? You guys all had it right.
Paul, do you think guys can hit? I mean, when I scouted, the biggest problem I saw with guys, you know, mixing the butter, their bat never stopped on foot strike.
On foot strike.
Yeah, I mean, everything was going and it still was going on foot strike.
Right.
Is that big or no?
I don't mind in any way. I call it waving, as long as the waving's not this way. For me, if I'm waving this way and I'm going with it, I can still get to the right cock that I want to get to, right? So I'm like, boom, boom, it's like cocking a gun, bam, right? I can get to that point. But once I get my foot striking down, I am pulling from the same point. So it's always the same move in. Will Clark, right? Will Clark was boom, boom, boom. And then if you watch it, he rolled into it and he clicked it. He clicked his hands, got to his stretch and went, okay? But he always pulled from the same point. Your timing and your rhythm mechanism is yours. I was a waver. I batted 400 in junior college. I was a pretty good hitter. But I went wave. I waved, I waved, I waved, I waved, and then I went into my move and stacked, and I pulled from this point, okay? So as long as we pull and get to our stretch point the same, we slow everything down. It's like stopping almost what we're doing so that we're still in the same situation. It doesn't matter what our rhythm is with our hands or anything else. I wouldn't try to do that. It's this, I just did it because I thought I was Barry Bonds. So I went here, right? But I tell guys this, I never want to be here because what can happen when I get to my cock zone? Like all I can do is get to maybe to this point when I'm doing a quick move in. I can't really go and go from here, then I'm cocked like this, which is it's going to be a weak wrist. Everything's not going to be punchable. So I always tell guys, if you have your move and it's here and simple, and I have a slow rhythm with it. So it's usually a wrist move, not a body move. So I let guys wave. I call it waving a little bit. So I let them wave as long as we get into our load and we stop and have our pull point, okay? Because their own rhythm is their own. Everybody has their own little way of doing it. As long as we all get to the same spot, it's fine. Like I have guys that will.
You got a question, please ask it. But I want to ask you about land foot.
Okay.
We got a lot of guys that hit.
Heel.
Don't get on. They don't get into the ground.
Yeah.
They're hitting on their toe.
Okay.
The good or bad?
You have to use the ground. We have to be firm when we come down. So I explain it as I want to use the ground when I load. So I'm using the ground force to create force. Boom. Right. Boom. Anyway, I'm going to feel it on the inside part of my leg, on the foot. I mean, and I'm going to feel it, and I'm going to use that ground force to get into everything. That's what I'm going to create. And even when I land, what is my foot doing? Is it on its tippy toe?
No.
Is it anywhere? Can everybody see my foot? No. What is it?
It's in the ground.
Right? We're using it still. It has to have a break. If I'm here, the only time I could say, even when I'm on the ground, you ever seen hitters that are here?
Yes.
Usually that's after what? Contact. Right? So if you're watching a guy, one of some of the great hitters, they go boom, inside pitch, they get their barrel out, and they'll roll. Do you guys know why lefties look so good, by the way? Huh? No, because first base. Righties, we fall across the bag. Boom, hit, and we'll fall towards first base, right? Where's lefties falling?
Towards first base.
Towards first base. Walk it off. So not fair, huh? It's third base, it's first base. Righties would be pretty.
I think it's pretty.
What?
Like at your college, what do you guys do with like your opinion on two-strike hitting? Like I've seen like like people doing no stride. Like,
Yeah.
I've tried to mess with a lot of it, and
Okay.
I've never really found something that like.
So, how good is your first and second strike?
Probably just as good as the third strike.
That's my opinion. So if your best swing is your first and second swing, why are you going to go to your worst swing on two strikes? So I trust that my guys have a good enough approach, a good enough eye awareness, and have mastered their skill of hitting that there is no difference between strike 1, 2, and 3. The only difference with 3 is you're gone, right? You'll see you later, okay? So my pitch recognition is good enough on 1, 2. I tell everybody this though, okay? You don't K because of strike 3. You K because you missed strike 1 or strike 2, right? You got a good enough pitch to hit in one of those 2 counts. That's why you K, because you hit something dirty, strike 3, he fooled you, he got you, whatever happened in strike three. We don't K because of strike three. We K because we missed the fastball early in the count and took it, right? Or we just fouled that hanging breaking ball off, right? So if we get really good and we can square balls up 1 and 2, why are we getting there, right? So if we get, it's going to happen where we get to 2 strikes. It happens. But for me, how many times do you practice your 2-strike approach? This is what always pisses me off with coaches everywhere, because they go, get into your 2-strike. Did you guys work on it last week? No. What? So if you guys, I have some guys that do it. So who was it that does it? God, who was it that does it?
Dave Esker.
It was Esker would do it. No, but UC Irvine, USC. Gillespie. They would get down and gritty with 2 strikes, right? But they worked on it. They did, right? My favorite story with Gillespie, I asked, he was the king of the squeeze. Okay, he could squeeze anytime, anywhere. I'm at an area coach, and I hadn't met Ben Orloff yet. This is when I meet Ben Orloff, who's now the UC Irvine coach. And I'm talking to the guy, and I'm like, hey, how do you do your squeeze? This is the king of the squeeze. And he goes, we bunt, Paul. And I'm like,
yeah.
Anything else? No, we bunt. I'm like, do you have a better read at third? Are we angled early? What are we doing? Are we doing something different? Are you? He's like, we bunt. And he got mad at me and he walks away. And Ben Orloff, who I'd never met, who's now the head coach there, is sitting behind me. He's laughing his ass off. And he goes, dude, you don't get it. We bunt for a month and a half straight. We don't hit. We don't do anything else. We bunt for a month and a half. And I'm like, oh, now I get it. We bunt. So I get it. But that was my introduction of being a Hall of Fame college baseball coach, was we bunt. So, but anyways, that's my thing with 2 strikes. My thing is you should be good enough with your 1 and 2 strike swings to be, I tell my guys to be lighter though. Okay, so if there's anything that we do, we are lighter with our hands. So we're not in drive mode anymore, we're more in punch mode, and we are lighter. So my hands are a little bit lighter with 2 strikes so that I can be a little more contact oriented, and then we get gritty. I mean, we are focused on being better than you, right? And more mentally prepared than you are. So if you leave anything in the zone, we are still going to get bat to barrel, and if you throw it out of the zone, we're going to take it. So we get gritty with 2 strikes, it's the only thing difference, and we get a little lighter with our hands. Okay? But I don't change what I do, because what do we do all the time? We work on our swings, and if that's the swing we are master, I still want that swing to happen with 2 strikes, because that's my best bet to do something with, right? If it wasn't, and your 2 strike was so good, wouldn't you use it in strike 1 and strike 2? Right? That's my opinion. Okay, guys might not hate it because they might want you to get lower, choke up on the bat. For me, if you work on doing that, go ahead. Okay, if you work on being real choppy and simple to the ball, and that's what you do with 2 strikes, and you're spending all your time doing it, but are you going to be able to drive doubles and do all that stuff? Probably not, right? No. So I believe in the fact that, for me, it's more about being gritty and being able to just hand-eye, bat ball control with 2 strikes. But I tell all my hitters, we are going to crush the first strike we see. I mean, we're going after it. So guess what? If guys have faced my teams, guess what they throw us?
Because off-speed first pitch, because they don't want to
Change it.
Yeah.
Change up.
Because you're so aggressive on the
Because we're so
fastball.
aggressive, yeah. So we get changed up to death, and that's the only thing that literally will give us a little bit of tizzy fit. But the only good part is, how many change-ups can you throw for a strike?
Is it your same, like you have the curveball philosophy? And I mean, I listened to guys talk hitting for years. That is what you explained to our guys tonight was like about as, fellas, I'm telling you, that was about as good as it gets right there. So
Simple.
thank you. That was huge. So can you use the same philosophy on the changeup?
No.
Okay.
Can't. So you can't do
From
it.
ball look, I mean, from where the ball starts on you.
Yeah, the best way I've explained it to my players and everybody's explained it to me is, hey, you got a guy with a good changeup, hit the fastball. Mind bending, right?
Greg Maddox.
Yeah, so the thing we do have drills for changeups. I like a couple of them. I do 2 plate, and 2 plate's great for 2 things. Adjustability on a baseball. Have you guys ever done 2 plate? I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying. If you don't, it's okay. So what you do is you have your normal plate. Say you had a bubble, normal plate. You put a plate behind it. okay? And what we'll do is, it gets a change-up effect when you move back. We move back to forward and forward to back. So you take 5 hacks here, boom, 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 then we move back. What's the ball gonna do now? It's gonna draw, it's gonna be slower, it's gonna drive down, it's gonna be a little bit different, okay? And it's adjustability on the baseball. It's almost like out of a machine, when you move back, it's almost like a change-up action. That's about as good as it can get. I have a really good machine. I have a Jugs that costs 10 grand, 3-wheel, thing's badass. And I could put a change-up on that thing. That thing is the dirtiest thing you've ever seen in the entire planet. They have a clicker for it, and if somebody's messing with guys and they're in the box, because we use velo on that thing, because it gets it up to 96, and we just go short distance and they pound it out. But some guys, if they're messing with them, there's a little clicker, and they just go, doot, and it goes, rah! And if you're not ready for it, it's filthy. You're just like, oh, right? So my thing with change-up, the other drill we do for change-up is this. We do a guy throwing, and we have a tee on the outer half, okay? Tee on the outer half. We don't make it super hard. We put it probably about a little bit above the knee. And what we do is, so he'll throw, you get your rhythm, throw. So your rhythm with the hand, rhythm with the hand, rhythm with the hand, and then he won't throw. So rhythm with the hand, punch. So we have a little bit of off-balance swing action. It changes in for your change-up. There's not much you can do for the change-up with that, except for that is realize it, see it, and know it, okay? Because if you have a good change-up, good luck. I had a guy who just at the Monterey. He threw 83 miles per hour. If he throws his fastball, what's going to happen to him in college baseball? He gets demolished. Okay, and I mean but his changeup was so good. He throw it to righties, to lefties. It's just like see you later, peace out. Nobody's touching it. So the only thing I tell guys is we're gonna battle once we realize it. We're gonna hope it's got to stay up too, because if it starts darting down low, it's gonna be a ball because it's gonna go and dart. So you almost have a breaking ball rule to where it starts with the changeup. The hard part is realizing guys are throwing it harder now with the same action. And so we're getting a lot of guys throwing the changeup harder. So they're not reading it early enough, and then it's getting firm. And you're like, thank you, see you later, right? So that's the only training I have for it that I do a lot of is basically I do the two plates so that I can see the difference in the way the ball comes at me. And then we do the reaction drill where we have the tee set up on the outside. So we have a little bit of change-up action on it. And then we just train it in as best as we can. And we're going to go to war with what we got, kind of a thing.
With change-up, can you see more out of release because they're throwing the circle?
They're choking it. So I call it choking the baseball. So if I had a baseball in my hand, I tell guys to look for the choke because we're going to see the ball deep in the guy's hand, and you're going to see it. So we try to read out of hand, right? So fastball is going to have what action? Right? Okay.
Forward.
Breaking ball is going to have what action? Side. Right? So we're going to get the plane of the ball, so will tell us what we're doing. So when we do reading out of our hands, so fastball, change up, breaking ball. So you can see out of hands, you can see fingers, and some guys don't read spin, and that's what they have to do. They have to literally see it out of hands. Not everybody can read spin, I'm telling you. Everybody goes, oh, I read spin so well. I've talked to 50 different major leaguers about it. Half of them did not read freaking spin, and they played in the big leagues. Like, they were like, nah, man, I didn't read spin. I'm like, well, you played in the big leagues for 10 years. Nah, man, I couldn't see the ball. I just hit it really well. I'm like, thanks. Awesome. Sweet. Yeah, so they were really good, gifted. That's how these guys are there. They're really gifted. They worked their butts off to get there, and they picked up patterns. So what they did say is, I could see fingers on the side for a breaking ball. Choking it for a changeup. Fingers on top, fastball. Like, you could see different tendencies out of their hands and how they throw it. So whatever you could do to pick things up on that way on reading is going to help you tremendously, right? How many of you guys actually look in at second base and give signs to your hitter? Nobody does that one, huh? Get ready for college baseball, because if you're not doing it, the other team's going to do it too. So it gets to be so studied on everything that you can give away everything and you can start. So we have to, as a team playing defense, guess what happens when a guy gets to second base and we're on defense? What do we have to do? Change our sign system up, because they're going to relay something, because they already are. Everybody's going to try to take advantage of anything they can take advantage of. right? So if you guys can read and give away a little something to somebody who's not doing it, like knees coming in or standing up high on chest, anything that'd be simple and easy to give away a pitch, I'm okay with. For me, that's not cheating. That's just them leaving their signs there. Okay?
That's Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, it's not. Well, if you have a camera in center field and you're telling the guy with an iPad what's coming, then I got a problem with that one. But if you're at second base and you're reading, that's my fault for not changing my signs. It is. Yeah.
So it sounds like you let a lot of guys kind of operate with their own like preferred motor preference, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Well, it usually matches their body skills and what they're doing. But yeah, we do let them kind of pick the way they're going to do it as long as they get to certain points.
So how much time do you spend working on, would you say you spend working on like mechanics versus approach versus situational hitting versus the mental side of hitting?
Okay, mental every day, all day, and every day in between, because like I said, it is the biggest thing for us. If I could have the most confident, greatest hitter on the planet. We don't know what's happening in his life. His dog might have died. Who knows what could have happened for him to have a horrible week or 2 weeks and to get out of whack. So I have to also know my players as people and what's going on in their lives too. So I am open to everything. I mean, my guys come to me. I have 10 texts already of my guys telling me what they ate. So it just anything and everything I can figure out how to be with them and be mentally with them sound and to know their mental capacity. Also, some guys I can't yell at. They'll shut down, right? If I go, you suck, and he'll be like, oh God, I suck. And then he's done, right? So I have to know what they can take also. Some guys, I can say anything and everything to their face, and they are like looking me in the eye like, yeah, I know. And they are intense and they want it, right? I have to know what they are, though. So I have to read them that ways. And then from that point, mentality-wise, we do build on everything else. So everything is pattern building on everything and singular to what we do. And they mastered, it takes us a month-ish, 3 weeks to a month for us to build their patterns and what they're doing. And then from that moment, I just basically give them the chores to do for the day. You know what I mean? And I'll watch and I study and I teach them how to study their own swing. Who's the best hitting coach for you? Yourself. It is. Nobody's going to be with you as much as yourself. Nobody's going to be there as much as you are. You are going to always be your best hitting coach. Okay. I've had hitters. I have hitters at Arkansas. I have hitters all across the country that have hit with me. Guess what I tell all the guys that have hit with me though also? Hit with other people. Because I might be studying on something so big, I'm like, oh, his lower half sucks, that I'm not paying attention to his hands. Right? Because I get so single focused on one thing that I can't stand with them, and I'm like, we got to work on this, this, and this. So I will send them to another hitting coach. I do. I send all my guys to another hitting coach. I'm like, learn from some other people too, because something might click. You said it early, Butch. Like something else might click that I'm not using the right words that make you understand what I'm saying. Like I said earlier, if I say something to player A, it's probably going to be a different thing than I say to player B, because the same words are not going to work for each player. Okay, the same cues are not going to work for each player. Everything's not going to work that I do. As long as we get the same points and they get to the same points, I'm fine. And every one of them does it a little bit different. Okay, but yeah, it's going to take about a month, and we work on patterns and how to do all the form stuff early, so that we don't have to do it late. And now they're just working to get better at what they do. And there's always timelines to everything. So for a hitter, for me, it takes 12 to 15 hacks, just live at bats, just to get timing for my hitters. It takes 20 to 25 to get comfortable in the box. Okay, so my timing might be fine, but I'm not comfortable in the box yet. Right? Once I get to 50, you should be locked and loaded. And I tell all my guys. So during fall, we only get 10 fall ball games to get it in, but we also play. They're 18 to 16 inning games. They're all day. It's ridiculous. Guys will get 7 to 8 at bats in a day, and then we'll do an inter squad on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, so they get about 4 more or 5 more bats during the week. So I'm trying to force feed at bats into them as much as I can to get to that 50, because then I'll know once they're at 50, and if they aren't being successful at 50, and I'm not seeing a successful pattern movement, then either I gave them the wrong pattern movement and it's on me, or they're doing something wrong and they're not seeing the ball. Like, I wish I could do eye tests on every player I had. You wouldn't believe how many guys are really successful at what they're doing and are blind as freaking bats.